Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night because you felt someone was watching you? Imagine opening your eyes and seeing a doll that was never there before. And every single night, it comes a little closer. This is the terrifying story of the doll that moved every night. Ethan was a 12-year-old boy who lived with his parents in an old house at the edge of a quiet town. One rainy afternoon, while exploring the dusty attic, he found a strange porcelain doll sitting inside a broken wooden box. The doll had pale skin, long black hair, and deep blue eyes that looked almost real. It wore an old white dress covered in dust, but its face was perfectly clean. Ethan felt uncomfortable looking at it, but he thought it might be valuable. So he carried it to his bedroom and placed it on a shelf near the window. That night, everything seemed normal. Before sleeping, Ethan looked at the doll one last time. It was sitting quietly on the shelf. Around 3 o'clock in the morning, he suddenly woke up after hearing a soft tapping sound. Tap, tap, tap. He looked around his dark room and froze. The doll was no longer on the shelf. It was now sitting on his study table, facing directly toward his bed. Ethan rubbed his eyes, thinking he was dreaming. He slowly got up, placed the doll back on the shelf, and went back to sleep. The next morning, he told his parents, but they laughed and said he must have moved it without remembering. The second night, Ethan made sure the doll stayed on the shelf. He even took a picture with his phone before sleeping. Again, at exactly 3 o'clock, the tapping sound returned. This time, when he opened his eyes, the doll was sitting on the chair beside his bed. Its head seemed slightly tilted, and its eyes were staring right at him. His heart raced with fear. He quickly turned on the light, and the doll remained perfectly still. He compared it with the photo on his phone. The picture clearly showed the doll on the shelf, but now it was beside his bed. Ethan was too scared to sleep. The next day, he locked the doll inside a closet before going to school. When he came home, the closet was still locked, but the doll was sitting on his bed, as if it had never been inside. That night, Ethan placed a small toy camera in his room to record everything while he slept. The next morning, his hands shook as he watched the recording. For hours, nothing happened. Then, at exactly 3 o'clock, the camera screen suddenly filled with strange black static. After a few seconds, the picture returned, and the doll was no longer on the shelf. There was no video showing it move. It had simply changed places. Ethan felt cold all over. He wanted to throw the doll away, but something inside him whispered that it was a bad idea. His grandmother visited later that week, and the moment she saw the doll, her face turned pale. She quietly asked Ethan where he had found it. After hearing about the attic, she became very serious. She told him that many years ago, the house belonged to a little girl named Emily. Emily loved one porcelain doll more than anything in the world. One stormy night, she disappeared without a trace. Some people believed she died, while others believed her lonely spirit became trapped inside the doll she loved so much. Since then, strange things had happened to anyone who kept it. Every night, the doll moved closer to the person sleeping in the room. And on the final night, it reached the bed. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. That evening, he decided to leave the doll outside in the backyard. He buried it deep under the old tree and returned to bed, hoping everything was finally over. At 3 o'clock, he woke up once again. The room was silent. Slowly he smiled, believing he was safe. Then he heard a soft creaking sound coming from the corner of his room. He turned his head very slowly. The doll was standing beside his bedroom door. Not sitting, standing. Its tiny porcelain feet were touching the floor. Ethan could barely breathe. The doll slowly raised one arm, as if inviting him to come closer. He shut his eyes tightly and refused to move. The next morning, the doll was gone. His parents searched the entire house, but never found it. Weeks passed, and life slowly returned to normal. Ethan tried to forget everything. Then one evening, while unpacking boxes after moving into a new house, he opened a small cardboard box that no one remembered packing. Inside, sitting perfectly still with its blue eyes staring at him, was the same porcelain doll wearing the same white dress. Attached to its neck was a small note, written in faded ink. It simply said, "You can never leave me." If you enjoyed this scary story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more terrifying horror stories. Sweet dreams, if you can sleep tonight.